fish farmers, two things. Kabonyo, where we are investing R1 billion, is going to give farmers, fish farmers, very good quality fingerlings at a subsidized price. Is that correct, PS? Yeah? So that is what we are doing for farmers, number one. Number two, we also are working on a grant of 450 million shillings, targeting fish farmers, the BMUs and all the people in that ecosystem, to support them. The same, you've just asked about the grant. So we have a grant facility that the ministry is running, and my Minister for Blue Economy will be in this region, I think, in the next week or two. I think he was here already. And we are having a conversation with the fish farmers on how they are going to access this grant. So those are the two things we are doing for fish farmers. Fingerlings, and also making sure that we organize some grant for them to be able to support their fish farming activities. On what you said, you know, I had a difficulty initially. When we made subsidized fertilizer available, there were brokers in some of the sugar companies. I'm sure if you've been there long enough, you will know. They actually refused sugarcane farmers to access subsidized fertilizer from government. I'm very happy that we are beyond that challenge. And as you say, this year, we have really made progress in matters cane farming. The subsidized fertilizer and rains have given us additional production. We are not yet at the production where we can stop all the imports, but at least we've slowed down on the imports of sugar into Kenya. And the prices have also come down significantly because we can produce more. But you have made a solid point around what are we doing about surplus. Surplus is a very positive problem. I was actually, I met the chair of the rice farmers in Kuja, and he told me exactly the same thing. What are we doing to make sure that the rice farmers, who I am told in just that irrigation program in Kuja, they have 800 tons that has been in their stores for the last 6 months. I instructed National Cereals and Produce Board to buy that rice and give it to our special programs for distribution to citizens who are under our ASAL and arid and semi-arid program, where we are supplying food to Kenyans around Kenya. So what we are doing, to answer your question directly, we are connecting the government program that has about 1 million Kenyans that we are giving food in different parts of the country. We are connecting that purchase to farmers so that farmers have a direct market. Because if we do not have a market for farmers, then we will end up with a problem. We will discourage farmers from producing. So I gave assurance to the farmers in Kuja, as I give assurance to others, that we are going to make sure that there is a market infrastructure program that will support farmers so that as they produce, they don't go into losses. On what you have said about cane testing, the cane testing units, it is true. We agreed that we must pay farmers on sugar content, not on the weight of everything that they carry to the place. But you know that there are characters who have gone to court. They've stalled that process for a very long time. But in the new program that we are rolling out, the one again that is in court, I don't know, we have a problem in court. When we unlock it from court, we will make sure that this time program, when we have a leasing program, we will make sure that we capture all the elements so that it becomes much more easy for us to implement payment on sugar content as opposed to just the weight of the sugar you have carried to the milling company. Yvonne O'War has asked me about cancer and diabetes and the chronic illnesses. And it is true, Yvonne, that even children of 10 years nowadays can suffer from high blood pressure. They can suffer from diabetes. In fact, I have an experience myself of children who are below 15 who are diabetic. So it is a situation that is real in Kenya today. And you have said correctly that NHIF is inadequate. The reality is that we have to transition. I am very clear in my mind that we need a different health infrastructure. It is the reason why we have changed the law on delivery of health. Parliament has now passed 4 different pieces of legislation that will help us achieve 3 things. Number 1, we want to make sure that level 1, level 2 facilities have adequate medicine and adequate personnel. Number 2, we want to make sure that as opposed to NHIF, which catered largely for people who had a pay slip, we're going to have the Social Health Insurance Fund. This time round, that fund, it doesn't matter whether you have a job or you have no job. The Social Health Insurance Fund will register every Kenyan. And we will make sure that those who can afford will pay, and those who do not afford, the government of Kenya will pay for them, so that everybody has a health insurance cover. And then number 3, because I told you 3 things. Number 3, we are now going to have, under the new law, we have a chronic illness fund that will take care of diabetes, hypertension, and all the other chronic diseases. And this fund will be accessed by everybody, every Kenyan, irrespective of your financial status. And this fund is contributed by all of us as Kenya, and government of Kenya will top up if there are any gaps. So for the first time in the history of Kenya, people who suffer from cancer, people who suffer from diabetes, people who suffer from hypertension, who today cannot go to hospital, because if you go to hospital, you will get a bill of 1 million, 2 million shillings, 3 million shillings. You sell your house, you sell your furniture, you sell your livestock, you sell everything you have, and you end up in poverty. For the first time, we will have a dedicated fund about chronic illnesses that will be accessed by every Kenyan. That is the new model that we are rolling out as a country. You asked me, what are we doing about it? Bwana Victor, Bwana Omolo, it is true that we have interns as teachers. And let me explain why we decided to go the route of interns. We have a very serious problem of shortage of teachers. In fact, our shortage is in the region of 140,000 teachers. That is the shortage we have in our schools. In fact, yesterday I was in a school in, I don't remember the name of the school. I don't know who. We had a school there. The MP for Nyatike was telling me there was a school, not Agenga, the other school there. He told me there were 200 students with 1 teacher from government. You know, that's how serious the whole thing is. So what did I do? I looked at the numbers and I said, we have 300,000 teachers out there, trained. In fact, some of them are about to go to retire before they get a job. Some of them are teaching in some school, they are paid 5,000 shillings. Yeah? So what did I do? I decided, I said, we have a big shortage of teachers. we have a big pool of trained teachers, and we have schools that have no teachers. If I had decided to hire permanent and pensionable, I would have hired maybe 12,000 or 13,000. So I decided, let me take this big pool of teachers who are unemployed. Let me hire them as interns. I will have sorted out two problems. I will have somebody who was earning nothing or 5,000, now earning 25,000. And I will have a student who has no teacher, at least there will be a teacher in class. With one guarantee that after 2 years of internship, you will get a permanent and pensionable job. Now, the good news, Bwana Victor, is that all the 46,000 teachers that were interns, I am going to confirm them in the next 2 months. The process, we have given the money for their confirmation. Now, Teacher Service Commission is working on the process to confirm all of them. And I want to thank them because they have done a wonderful job. In fact, our education numbers has improved because of the JSS teachers. They have really done a good job. If there are any JSS teachers in this room, congratulations, you guys are solid patriots of the Republic of Kenya. And the whole, and all of them. My assurance to you is that we have provided the resources for all of you to be confirmed. I will get an additional 20,000 interns. I will confirm them further down the road as we make progress. Of course, you know, Victor, that there was a little challenge. Some of the unions wanted to incite teachers to go on a strike on a matter that we have already sorted, because the collective bargaining agreement that was negotiated between TSC and the teachers, we have already provided money. In fact, I think by today or tomorrow, every teacher will have their salaries, they will have all their arrears paid for in accordance with the CBA that was signed. So there is absolutely no justification for anybody to tell teachers to go on strike. And I must single out NAT for being understanding and agreeing that once we have sorted out a problem, there is no need for posturing. We need to get down to teaching our children and moving forward as a country. Vincent Kapisai, he says, you came from Nyalenda. That gentleman from that corner, Santa Sana. Vincent, plans for Harambee Stars. First, we were privileged to host AFCON together with our East African countries, Uganda and Tanzania. And we are rolling out the infrastructure. The people from AFCON were here. They have confirmed. We have extensive works going on in Kasarani, Moi Stadium. We have extensive works going on in Nyayo National Stadium. We have extensive works underway in Jamhuri, the new 60-seater stadium right there in Jamhuri in Nairobi. All those are on course. We will deliver the stadium that will be used either for the kickoff or the finals in Jamhuri. We will deliver it a year ahead of schedule, or a year ahead of 2027. We want to deliver it by 2026. So, in fact, we're trying to see whether we can do it by December next year. So, it's all systems go for us hosting the game, the AFCON, both in Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. As for Harambee Stars, because the game will be right here at home, we are preparing Harambee Stars. We are going out of our way to make sure that every bit of necessary support is given to Harambee Stars. I cannot give you details on whether the coach will be Kenyan, whether it will be Mourinho or whoever. You have some nice suggestions on who you think that should be. But I think that is a conversation that is going on at the ministry. One thing I want to assure you is that we will give our Harambee Stars the best support that we can muster as Kenyans. And I want to encourage all of us as lovers of football that we give them moral support as well and support them so that they can put up a good show in AFCON. As to corruption in police and the rent-seeking in police stations, you're right. We have decided that we are going to digitize all police stations and even make sure that, and I want Raymond, do you want to say something about that particular issue?
Your Excellency, there's a program on the plan to do the digitization. First, of course, we were piloting the OB, the occurrence book, so that we're able to keep track of what is going on. But then there's also the broader police modernization program that we are running that includes equipping and also improving the facilities that they have. There's a proposal that the gentleman has on the CCTVs. I think even in the major cities as it is in Nairobi and Mombasa, we already have that going on to help the police man the streets, but also for accountability on the part of the police. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As you have heard, we already have a whole program around, first, the famous OB, occurrence book, where when you arrive at the police station, that is where your report is entered. We want to make sure that that is digital so that we can, from every place, we can know what is happening where, and reports don't disappear or pages of the OP don't disappear. So that is, but you have a solid suggestion on making sure that we digitize that phase and deal with the matter of corruption. It is true that there is serious, both impunity, and this is something we must deal with as Kenyans. And you see, it is also important for us to say there are people who actually actively induce policemen with money. I think it is time, even us as Kenyans, we stopped the culture of bribing policemen. Because sometimes policemen cannot resist the offers that are being made and advances on them. So this corruption thing, we must deal with it from all angles. We must make sure that we take action on the police that ask for the money, and Kenyans who give money must also be told they are part of the problem. And I don't know who is going to tell them. We need to tell ourselves as a people to stop that culture. And then you have talked about water. I may not be competent to answer about the water in Kisumu County and the payments and how much it costs. But broadly, what I can tell you is that we have a program on delivering additional water. We just succeeded in delivering additional 140 billion liters of water to Nairobi County, a program that has been on the works for the last almost 8 years. That program has now been delivered. It is also my intention, and yesterday we had a conversation with the county of Kisumu. We have a big dam here called Koru Soin Dam, which is part of the infrastructure we want to use to deliver water that will assist in making sure that we have additional water in this great city and the environs. So the big plan is to supply as much water as possible. That way, when we have enough water, it becomes easy to moderate the costs of water. So on my end, I want to just commit to you that my plan is to increase the water supply, work with the counties, and then we need also to have a conversation with the counties, because now we have a whole concept of public participation where all of us can engage government at all levels on matters that are of concern to citizens. Let me finally speak to Beatrice. And Beatrice has said, what are we going to do about the finance bill? You know, the finance bill is something we must think about as Kenyans, all of us. There were many issues in that finance bill that were very positive for our country. And we are having conversations with different partners. We are having different conversations with different partners. Of course, when we lost the finance bill, we lost close to 340 billion of the money that we would have raised using the finance bill. I now have a new minister, John Mbadi, who is a seasoned accountant and somebody who has clarity on where we want to go. And I have already given him the assignment to look at the best way we can get ourselves out of this. He is working with the Treasury team. They have given me the initial proposal, and I'm very confident that we can turn things around once we consolidate our position and then engage the stakeholders in that space and even get ourselves having a conversation with our members of parliament so that we can decide as a country how we move forward. Because the current situation is not tenable. We have to find the resources to deal with the issues. We have roads that many people here agree are stalled. We have water projects that we have to deal with. We have teachers that we have to pay. We have the whole array of requirements of public, including what my sister Yvonne said about matters health, that we have to